Canelo Alvarez is undoubtedly entering the twilight of a career if he chooses to make that so. But let's talk about Canelo and the Getaway. Canelo makes off with the loot in the twilight of his career. Let's talk about it. Recently, undisputed super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez defended his world championship titles against John Ryder and ended with a lackluster, successful unanimous decision victory. This fight took place in his hometown, Mexico. Estadio Akron, Zapopan, Mexico. And the opponent, John Ryder, was brought in so that Canelo could have a celebratory homecoming. Ryder fought valiantly and showed a lot of grit, but he was nowhere near the level of Canelo Alvarez. And so, this video is to speak about how we have witnessed over the last several years. Alvarez had fought mid-level competition, defending titles, picking up vacant titles, and not fighting the quality opposition that many people feel that he should be facing at this stage of his career. Because as many of the boxing officials have deemed him the face of boxing, he hasn't shown that in the ring. For an example, let's look at the last 6 fights he's had, going back prior to his most recent win over John Ryder. Gennady Golovkin in September of 2022, Dmitry Bivol in May of 2022, Caleb Plant in November of 2021, Billy Joe Saunders in May of 2021, Avni Yildirim in February of 2021, and Callum Smith in December of 2020. Now you look at those 6 names. Out of them, the Golovkin fight was a third fight, a rematch, after the first 2 fights had occurred a few years earlier, and the fact that many people felt that Gennady Golovkin possibly won both, if not at least one of those fights. Now you factor in the other opponents, they were never the guys that the public really wanted to see Canelo face off against. And let's not forget that the network that he fought on, DAZN, and fighting for PBC or whatever, everyone was offering him huge sums of money, upwards of over $40 million, to face off against this opposition. Now, though the commanding of a purse that size is admirable, and many people aspire towards something like that, the quality of opposition was not on par, nowhere near equivalent. The 2 Charlo brothers, Demetrius Andrade, David Benavidez, were all around and available. Even Anthony Durrell, who at one time was still a real player in the division, he didn't receive the consideration. So why is it that Canelo, being the face of boxing, can be allowed to face off only who he wants to fight, even when the WBC was trying to mandate an opponent for him, he said that he wouldn't fight the opponent and would discard the WBC belt. And their response to that was simply, let's make a franchise entitlement for Canelo. That's where it all goes back to. But clearly, when you think of this and the applications of which they apply during the sport while he's reigning, no accountability once again. So he makes off with the loot. Canelo has been paid handsomely, and it is quite understandable that now when he faces off against an opponent like John Ryder, his performance is quite lackluster. He no longer has anything to shoot for and has stifled boxing by saying that he represents Mexico. So any hungry Mexican fighters who would love the opportunity to face off against Canelo will be denied that opportunity. Any other fighter from any other nation, if he said he didn't want to fight his own countrymen, people would scoff at this. But they allow Canelo to get away with something like this, and he continues to thrive in the sport. Mexican fighters are always known to bring the best that they have to offer and will challenge one another to no end when they compete in the ring. Canelo is not looking for those type of fights for himself because he doesn't have that desire anymore. He's like the fat Cheshire cat that sits on the sofa and will watch a mouse run back and forth across the floor for entertainment, but he's not looking to engage. Is this fair? Is it something that you support with the sport? Think about it like this. Every so often there's a fighter that'll come along and change everything in boxing. And Canelo's time is very short. Sooner or later, he'll be gone. People won't think about him, and they'll think about whoever is available presently. Welcome to Loon, Coon, and Buffoonery, Part 13. The Getaway. Canelo makes off with loot without real opposition. That's what this video is about. And that's what we're seeing from this particular fighter. Now, in the twilight of his years and days, can he still find someone sufficient to provide that type of challenge and to give the public the type of fights that they would like to see? Absolutely. But will he be willing to do so? I can guarantee you he will not do it without commanding a huge purse on his way out. My thing is, the sooner he's on his way out, the better, to free up the opportunities for other fighters who will be trying to fight for legacy. Think about it. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you think about Canelo making off with the loot without real opposition. Leave comments and discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.